Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Iranian Dance Team's second annual showcase, Beyond the Golden Sunrise, a spectrum of traditional Persian dances. I'm Sheila Iqbali, the artistic director of IDT, and I will be the mistress of ceremony today. I established IDT in 2005 with the intention to focus solely on dance as a means to promote the Iranian culture. IDT's mission is to educate its members and the community about the Iranian culture, history, geography, and music through dance. Through education and awareness, we hope that one day dance will once again find its rightful place in the cultural map of Iran. Given the success of last year's program, we have decided to keep the general structure of the show, providing you with historical background prior to each piece. However, this year, we will also take you through the roads of Iran and as many provinces as I was able to visit and videotape so that you may be able to experience Iran in a more intimate way. Iran is part of the area designated as Middle East, surrounded by Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey, Iraq, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Iran is home to over 70 million people of various ethnic descents. In the 2,500 years of its reported history, various nomadic tribes have passed through and settled in different parts of Iran, bringing with them their unique cultures, music, costumes, languages, religions, and traditions. Iran's natural resources include petroleum, natural gas, coal, chromium, copper, iron ore, lead, manganese, zinc, and sulfur. Iran is surrounded by two bodies of water, the Caspian Sea, which is the largest lake in the world, and the Persian Gulf. Both of these are means of international trade. Furthermore, Iran is host to the world's largest single refugee group, refugees from Afghanistan. Through war and peace, immigration, emigration, and trade, Iran has evolved into a country with many cultures coexisting within. Iran's population has more than tripled in the past 25 years. 30% of Iranians are under the age of 15. However, of those over the age of 15, 85 to 87% of men and 73 to 75% of women are literate, which is a great improvement given that much of the population lives in villages and some in nomadic tribes. Each province in Iran has its own unique culture, rituals, music, costumes, and dance. In this program, we will explore the dances of various provinces in appreciation of the ethnic diversity of Iran as it is today. Tehran is located at the base of Alborz mountain series. The city, which is estimated to contain over 12 million residents, has been the capital city of Iran and the largest city of this country since 1778, when it was claimed as capital by the Qajar dynasty. It was during that era when classical Iranian dance first surfaced, and circular folk dances were choreographed into performance pieces for the royal audience. In 1928, 5 dancers introduced ballet to Iran, and with this addition, they formed 2 new dance styles. One was Iranian ballet, which uses traditional ballet dance moves with modified traditional Iranian costumes to portray Iranian stories. The other was what Iranian dance artists now consider classical Iranian dance. What sets this style apart from folk dances, beyond the choreography, is minimized hip and shoulder motion, gliding of feet, turns and spins, as well as elegant hand rotations. The next piece is a classical dance performed by the preteen group to the song Reincarnation by Fariborz Lachini, a well-known Iranian piano composer. Lachini was born in Iran in 1949. He started his career by writing music for children when he was 18 years old. He studied musicology at the Université de Paris-Sorbonne, and his most popular piece is Payez Talai, the Golden Autumn. Through the Golestan Treaty of 1813 and the Turkmenchay Treaty of 1828, the land that was occupied by the Azari people was divided between the Persian and the Russian empires. Iran's East and West Azerbaijan provinces are located in the northwest of Iran, bordering the Republic of Azerbaijan. However, Azeris, which encompass 24% of Iran's population, also live in Ardabil, Zanjan, and parts of Qazvin and Markazi provinces. In May of 1918, the northern portion of Azerbaijan, which belonged to the Russian Empire, declared independence as the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. However, after World War II, this country became a part of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the northern part of Azerbaijan re-established its independence as the Republic of Azerbaijan. There is much debate about the origins of the people of Azerbaijan and the relation of those residing in Iran and those residing in the neighboring republic. It is well established that both groups speak the same language, Azeri, which has originated from the Uyghur-Turkic language brought to Iran by immigrating nomadic Turkmen in the 11th century. The process of Turkification of the language took nearly 2 centuries, after which Azeri became the most commonly spoken language in the region. During the Pahlavi dynasty, the use of this language was suppressed in schools and the government. This suppression still exists in schools of Iran's Azerbaijan. However, it has not prevented the people of Azerbaijan from passing on their language from generation to generation. We are now going to take a short trip to one of Zanjan's most precious historical locations, the Laundry House of Zanjan, or Rakhshurkhane. This museum is located in the old but densely populated Abbas Qoli Khan neighborhood of Zanjan, the capital city of Zanjan province. This laundry house was built in 1927 by 2 brothers, Mashhadi Akbar the architect and Mashhadi Ismail the mason. The water for this structure originated from Haji Mir Bahauddin Channel. The building is set on 11 columns and it contains 4 ponds designated for washing. The ponds are linked together by channels, so the water is constantly running. There was a hierarchy in washing. Children's clothes and those that needed to be most clean were washed close to the water source, while the clothes of the sick would be washed at the end of the channel. This laundry house has become Zanjan's Museum of Anthropology and was designated on the National Heritage List in 1940. From here, we will travel through the roads of Zanjan to Sultaniye. The Sultaniye Dome, with an elevation beyond 55 yards, is the world's biggest brick dome. This dome was built in 1313 by Sultan Uljaitu Khudabande, one of the kings of the Ilkhanid dynasty, a Mongol dynasty that ruled Iran. Upon converting from Sunni to Shiism, the Sultan, or the king, decided to make the dome a resting place for Imam Ali and Imam Hussein, the first and third of the 12 imams that preceded Prophet Muhammad. However, the bodies were never transferred from Iraq, and the monument became the resting place of Sultan Uljaitu himself. This structure includes an octagon with a rectangular burial chamber extending from the southern side. Sultaniye Dome is the 7th Iranian site that has been registered in the list of World Heritage Committee, putting the site under the protection and preservation from almost all countries worldwide. Our next trip in the Azeri-populated areas will be to West Azerbaijan's Takht-e-Soleiman, another structure registered with the World Heritage Committee. This massive structure is located in the valley of a volcanic mountain region. This site includes a principal Zoroastrian sanctuary partly built in the Ilkhanid period, which is the 13th century, as well as a temple of Sasanian from the 6th and 7th centuries, dedicated to Anahita, the goddess of waters. This is a primary site associated with one of the early monotheistic religions of the world. The name Takht-e-Soleiman, or the Throne of Solomon, comes from a folk legend that King Solomon imprisoned monsters inside the 100-meter deep crater of the Prison of Solomon. The lake in the center of the structure is another crater filled with water, the depth of which is unknown. The source of the water is likely a spring because the water flows out of the pond even in the hottest months of the year. The legend of King Solomon was used as a means to protect this structure from destruction by Arab invaders, because of its association with Zoroastrianism, which was considered to be incompatible with Islam. This story was also used to protect other architectural pieces, such as the Pasargad, the tomb of Cyrus the Great, which was entitled Solomon's Mother's Tomb. Now that we have had a glimpse of various regions populated by Azeri people, we will take a look at the dances of Azerbaijan. There are several forms of Azeri dances, group dances and solo dances. Both styles are done by men and women, however certain styles are specific to each gender. The following dance begins as a medium-speed yalle dance, which is considered to be Azerbaijan's national folk dance. This style is done by both men and women. The second part of this piece is a Nelbeki dance, which is a traditional wedding dance performed by women only. Women dance with saucers or teacups in preparation for a wedding. We will finish this piece with a fast-paced Lezgi dance, which is traditionally done by men, but women have been recently incorporated into these dances. Other styles of fast dances include Khanchupan, or the shepherd's dance, and Koroglu. The origins of Iranian classical music date back to the Elamite Empire, the Elams, from 2500 to 644 BC. Elam, the oldest known civilization in Iran, was founded in 1250 BC. The Elamites were said to have been the descendants from Shem, one of the sons of Noah. Although little is known about the use of music during this period, it was during this era that various instruments such as atar, setar, flutes, and barbats, known as oud, were invented. Persepolis, or Takht Jamshid, the capital city of Achaemenid Empire, or Hachamaneshian, was founded by King Darius the Great around 500 BC. As depicted on the remnants of the carved stones of Persepolis, music was used in this era as a form of entertainment, especially in the court. It also had a crucial role in religious ceremonies, such as those worshipping the Mithra, or Mitra, the Zoroastrian goddess, who was considered to be the protector of order in the universe, as well as the protector of truth, justice, and the source of cosmic light. During the Sassanid Empire, a courtman musician known as Barbot the Great created the first system of Iranian music dedicated to King Khosrow, known as the Royal Khosravani. Many of the modes called dastgah, created by Barbot the Great, have survived through oral teachings, and modified versions are used in traditional Iranian music today. Also, during the Sassanid Empire, the harp was a vital instrument to Iranian music. However, this instrument's origins are thought to be from France. Our next piece is a classical dance performed by the youth group to a traditional chargah song with tar as a predominant instrument. The tar originated in the Persian Empire, and its design has been influenced by Afghanistan and Azerbaijan. However, the exact origin is unknown. Tar means string, and the Persian tar originally had 5 strings. However, the current form has 6 strings in groups of 2. The 6th string was added by Darvish Khan, one of the masters of tar in the 19th and 20th century. The body of the tar is a double bowl shape and is traditionally carved from mulberry wood. The contemporary Azerbaijani tar is a slightly different build and contains more strings. In historical times, the melodies performed on the tar were used for medicinal purposes to help with headache, insomnia, and melancholy, as well as nervousness and muscle spasms. The next piece is entitled The Rain, for the sound of raindrops slowly falling on the ground, the wind blowing, and the intensity of the rain increasing with time. Eventually, the rain slows down. The last droplets fall upon your face, and the sun comes back out. Khuzestan, Bushehr, and Hormozgan are the three provinces that line the southern part of Iran. This region is commonly known for its hot and humid weather, harbors, fishing, and international trade. The people of these provinces are mostly of Fars and Arab origins. In the 16th century, Abbas the Great, one of the kings of the Safavid dynasty, defeated the Portuguese who had occupied the Persian Gulf of Iran in a naval battle. Following this victory, King Abbas established a harbor as a trade center in the Hormozgan province, which was then named Bandar Abbas, which means Abbas Port. This region of Iran is rich in history due to its exposed location on the Persian Gulf. As a result, many other cultures have influenced the music and dance of this region, such as those of African, Indian, and Arab origins. The music used for Bandari dance has been sung by sailors and harbor workers for centuries and is played for celebrations and traditional ceremonies. The instruments specific to this style of music are the ney, which is a reed flute, dombak, which is a goblet-shaped drum, daf, which is a handheld drum, and darbuka, a drum of Arab origin made from fish skin and clay. The moves characteristic of this dance include head rotations, the shaking of hands, the tossing of hair, very rapid shoulder isolations called rees, and hip drops similar to Arabic dances. The body motion has a front and back waving action created by the footwork, which is a step and a slide, similar to samba. The Iranian bagpipe is called nayamban, and it's made from goat skin with both the double reed pipe and mouthpiece attached. The performer blows into the mouthpiece and plays a melody on the pipe, which characteristically has 6 holes for finger placement. In southern Iran, this instrument is used for a variety of occasions, including weddings and funerals. Bandari music generally begins with the bagpipe dominating the music, and after at least a minute of this intro, other instruments begin to play. The next dance begins with Bandari women rising up for work at dawn and dancing their way through the day. The dance has moves from various regions of the south. Head tosses and spins are typical of all areas and are even used as forms of meditation, especially in grieving ceremonies. Dancing with a scarf or headpiece is characteristic of Bushehr, and their interpretation of this fast music is very different, with a much slower movement of the dancers. Gilan is one of the northernmost provinces of Iran, bordering the Caspian Sea on one side and the Alborz Mountain on the other. It is also the greenest and wettest of all provinces, with a humid temperate climate. Prior to the 18th century, Gilan was a major producer of silk and a very rich estate. However, due to a silkworm epidemic, Gilan suffered a great economic downfall and therefore was forced to change its main source of income and likewise its product. Given the region's climate and geology, rice and tea became its major agricultural products. Residents of Gilan speak a different language than the national language of Iran, which is Farsi, or Persian. Gilani people are referred to as Gilaki, and their spoken language is also known as Gilaki. Gilaki is a language different from Persian and closely related to Mazandarani in vocabulary. The grammatical structures of these two languages differ from Persian, and the vocabulary has been almost unaffected by Arab and Turkic languages. The capital of Gilan is Rasht, which is the largest city in northern Iran, and also the center of trade between Iran, Russia, and Europe, with the port of Bandar Anzali. Millions of people from other parts of Iran and other countries visit Gilan because of its beauty and historical importance. A notable historical figure from Gilan is Mirza Kuchak Khan. Culinary culture of Gilan is very rich, and among the most popular dishes are Mirza Qasemi, which is an eggplant dish, and pomegranate paste and walnut marinated kebab or stew, which is fasanjun. The traditional clothes still worn today by most women consist of long, full skirts with several rows of ribbons, mid-length shirts, and small jackets, along with a headscarf tied in the back of the head. The costumes we use have 3 ribbons in the middle that correspond to the colors of the Iranian flag: red, white, and green. The dance movements of this region are a reflection of the day-to-day work. It is a dance in which the growing and harvesting tea and rice is demonstrated with mimetic movements and is traditionally danced in circles. Moves from this region portray the spreading of seeds, the collecting of crops, and the cleaning of rice and tea. The next dance, entitled Rana, begins with women walking out to the fields as the sun begins to rise. They arrive at the fields, put their lanterns down, and begin to work. As the sun rises in the sky, their energy increases. They work hard until the end of the day, when they leave the fields and go home. The rise of the Pahlavi dynasty was influential in creating and maintaining Iranian classical dance. The first professional Iranian dance ensemble was formed in the 1940s and was called the Revival of Ancient Iranian Arts. Later, the Ministry of Culture and Arts, under the direction of Nejad Ahmadzadeh, formed the National Folkloric Music, Song, and Dance Group. Ahmadzadeh's goal was to revive, maintain, and develop the national and folkloric music, song, and dance. He sent groups of experts to various regions of Iran to gather information and study the traditional art forms of each province. This ensemble toured worldwide. After a visit to the United States, Ahmadzadeh brought performing arts to the newly opened Rudaki Hall Opera House in Tehran. In 1967, he formed the Iranian National Ballet. During that time, 5 dancers brought ballet to Iran and added a new element to classical Iranian dance. One of those 5 dancers, who became one of the most influential figures of classical Iranian dance, was Madame Yelena Avedisian, of Armenian descent. In 1962, she started the Song and Dance Ensemble to preserve and perform Armenian and Iranian folk and classical dances. This dance academy was recognized by Iran's Ministry of Culture and Fine Arts. Some of her most famous pieces of work are Rose of Shiraz, Song of the Canary, Victory of Babylon, and the Fire Dance. The next dance is a classical dance performed by Sheila Iqbali to the song Navai. This dance is a combination of moves from various Iranian dance styles, with an emphasis on classical Iranian dance. One style portrayed are Sema dance turns, which are specific to Sufi ceremonies. Traditionally, the dervishes who are highly trained in this form of meditation wear black robes, and upon receiving blessings, they drop the black robe and begin to turn in their white outfits, with a white top, long circle skirt, and pants. Removing the black cloak symbolizes spiritual rebirth to the truth. At first, the arms of the dancer are crossed, resembling one god. The arms slowly open up until the right arm is directed toward the sky to receive God's blessing, and the left hand is turned toward the earth. Revolving from right to left around the heart is a symbol of embracing humanity with love. Jalaluddin Rumi, a 13th century Persian poet of the Sufi faith, says, "All loves are a bridge to divine love, yet those who have not had a taste of it do not know." The main instrument in this song is a santur. Santur is a hammer dulcimer of Iran, a trapezoid-shaped instrument made from walnut trees with 72 strings. Santur means 100 strings in Farsi. The instrument is played with mallets or mezrab that are held between the index and middle fingers. The origin and invention of this instrument is attributed to the ancient Persian empires. The song was written by Tabib Esfahani about Layli and Majnun, an ancient folk story of the Middle East, very similar to Romeo and Juliet, that was written in the form of poetry by Nizami Ganjavi 500 years before Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet. This song is referring to the scene where Layli is seated on a camel and suddenly leaving Majnun. The melody of the song is from the Khorasan province. The translation is as follows: a call, a song, all are faithful, you are faithless. A call, a song, may there will be no sign of separation. Your sorrow resides in the depths of the heart, may Layli the beloved sit upon the camel. A thorn in the foot may be taken out easily. What would I do with the thorn that cuts through the heart? Walk softly behind the cameleer, lest no dust sit upon the cameleer. I bestow kindness upon the guest. There the beggar and the king sit face to face. Don't hurt my heart, because this wild bird would hardly return once it has flown away. The river of my tears following the camel, the poor creature may bemire.
نوایی 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 الهی نماند نشان از جدایی الهی نماند نشان از جدایی غمت در نهان خانه دل نشیند غمت در نهان خانه دل نشیند بنازی که لیلی به محمل نشیند بنازی که لیلی به محمل نشیند خلطگر به پاخوری آسان براید خلطگر به پاخوری آسان براید چه سازم به خاری که بر دل نشیند چه سازم به خاری که بر دل نشیند سبکتر قدم زد به دنبال محمل سبکتر قدم زد مبادا غباری به محمل نشیند مبادا غباری به محمل نشیند به نازم به بزم محبت که آنجا به نازم به بزم محبت که آنجا گدایی به شاهی مقابل نشیند گدایی به شاهی مقابل نشیند
Before the start of intermission, we'd like to provide you with a few more facts about Iran. The name Iran was derived from the Aryan or Irani tribes. Persia was derived from the ancient province of Persis, the home of the Parsa people. The empire of the Achaemenid dynasty from 550 BC to 334 BC comprised of Persia, which is Iran, Mesopotamia, which is Iraq, Syria, Egypt, and parts of Asia Minor, which is Turkey, as well as India. Iran was called Persia until 1935. One of the kings of the Achaemenid dynasty, Cyrus the Great, conquered Babylon, and when he did so, he released the Jewish people who had been held captive in the country. A scroll from Cyrus the Great was found during excavations in Babylon, with inscriptions of the first known declaration of human rights. The Persians were an advanced civilization of their times. They built the world's largest road, 1,500 miles, known as the Royal Road. Postmen could make a journey along the road in 6 to 9 days instead of 3 months. As mentioned previously, the Qajar dynasty played a crucial role in the establishment of Iranian classical dance. The kings of this dynasty were fond of arts and artists, and this not only is demonstrated through their support of classical dance, but also through the museum complex of Golestan Palace, where artwork gifted to the royal family were kept in galleries. Golestan Palace is the oldest monument in the city of Tehran. This palace belonged to a set of buildings within a citadel built by Tahmasp I of the Safavid dynasty from 1524 to 1576. It was later renovated by Karim Khan Zand, the leader of the Zand dynasty, from 1750 to 1779. The structure called Khalvat Karim Khani was part of the residence of Karim Khan Zand. Agha Muhammad Khan Qajar in 1779 chose Tehran as the capital of Iran, and this complex, including the Golestan Palace, became a part of the royal Qajar family residence. The palace was rebuilt in 1865 to its current form by Haji Abul Hassan Mimar Navai under the order of Nasiruddin Shah Qajar, so as to create a worthy place for the precious gifts bestowed upon him by the Ottoman king Sultan Abdul Hamid. The marble throne, or Takht Marmar, was built in 1806 by the order of Fath Ali Shah Qajar, who ruled from 1797 to 1834. The throne was placed on a terrace with walls and ceilings covered in mirror work. The throne is made up of 65 pieces of marble and designed by Mirza Baba Naqash Bashi of the Qajar court. The details of the terrace were completed during the reign of Fath Ali and Nasiruddin Shah. Nasiruddin Shah was particularly fond of the calm corner of Khalvat Karim Khani. His tomb rests here within a marble stone carved with his image next to the marble throne and pond of Karim Khan Zand. Coronation of Qajar kings and formal court ceremonies were held at this terrace. The last coronation was that of Reza Shah Pahlavi in 1925. During the Pahlavi dynasty, another influential dynasty in Iranian classical dance that ruled from 1925 to 1979, the Golestan Palace was used for formal royal receptions, and the residential palace of the royal family was built in the northern portion of the city entitled Niavaran. In 1925 and 1945, large parts of the palace were destroyed by the order of Reza Shah in order to remove what was thought would hinder the growth of a modern city. In place of some of the old buildings, modern buildings were built. The most recent addition to this complex is the Imarat Khabgah, or siesta house, that was built as residence for Queen Elizabeth II during her short visit to Iran in 1955. Takht Tavus, which is the famous Iranian jeweled peacock throne, was originally in the reception hall, or Talar Salam, of Golestan Palace, but was moved to the Central Bank of Iran in the Royal Jewelry Collection. Now that we have visited and learned about the dynasties that most supported Iranian classical dance, the Qajar and the Pahlavi dynasties, we will introduce the next piece, Broken Wings. While other birds are flying around and soaring up the sky freely, one bird is injured and barely able to flap her wings. She tries to get up and fly up, but it's too hard for her to soar, so she drops. She dreams that her fellow friends have come to protect her until she heals. She sits there and practices flying again. Finally, she can fly and dance in the skies with her friends, and the flock of birds fly away. Birds have a natural instinct to leave behind the injured to protect the flock from predators. But may every injured bird be able to fly again. Mazandaran is one of the northern provinces alongside of the Caspian Sea. Golestan is a newly formed province, previously a part of Mazandaran, and is highly populated by Turkmens. One notable historical figure from Mazandaran is Reza Shah. Due to its special location by the Alborz mountain range, this area is kept humid and temperate, making it an ideal place for agriculture. Rice is among the most important crops farmed in the northern region. Much of this aspect of the people's daily lives is incorporated into their dances. Moves characteristic of Mazandarani dances are hip tosses, hand rotations with fists, and shoulder isolations. The Mazandarani costumes are called shalite, which is comprised of pants, a knee-length skirt, a mid-length shirt, and a vest. The skirts usually have coins sewn to the bottom, creating a sound upon the movement of the dancer. Those who could not afford coins often punched holes in Coke bottle caps and sewed those to their skirts. Mazandaran has become a tourist attraction due to its close proximity to Tehran, the weather, the scenery, and the presence of the Caspian Sea. As a result, most Mazandaranis in the cities no longer know of their regional costumes or speak Mazandarani, a language different from Persian or Farsi, but often mistaken as a dialect of Persian. There are several styles of dances: Teshtama, Chekasama, Sastama, and Samahal. The majority of moves used in the following dance are from the Chekasama, with the hand rotations and fists and hip tosses. The next piece, entitled Lare, will be performed by our preteen performers. Many dance moves in this dance portray the harvesting and collecting of crops, tossing seeds to clean them, and rolling dough to make bread. Another style incorporated into this dance belongs to a men's stick dance from the areas of Mazandaran neighboring Khorasan, most of which is now Golestan.
را بنگ تهران چمر کل بنگ چار بیدارم کار تشنه سرل جو چپون صدار سردن بگرنش ارمون آی لاره هلاره جان لاره هلاره و نوش مشترک چیه بهاره با پلی تعلم کم به بانگم با پلی تعلم بریم براشین آی منم دیر بر تلا باشیم آی لاره هلار جون جان لاره هلار جون آی جان خواهی دارم کم به تیغرمون آی تو بسون وقت کارم من میرم پاییز جمع ها کنم و تزم مسون آی زمسون برف بارون من میرم خبر به موعه خبر به موعه و نوشه گر بزه چاتر به موعه و نوشه گر بزه چاتر به موعه و نوشه گر بزه چاتر به موعه.
Kurdistan is a province located on the west side of Iran along the Zagros Mountains. However, the Kurdish people live not only there but also in the neighboring part of Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Kurdistan itself is an ancient establishment of people dating back to 8000 BC. The Kurds speak Kurdish or Pahlavani, an Indo-European language more closely related to Gilaki, Talish, and Baluch than Persian, which is a southwestern member of the Indo-European languages. The Kurdish people are mostly Sunni Muslims, but some still practice their original religion, Yazdani. The origins of the Kurdish people is not entirely settled. Several different groups have arrived at this region between 8000 and 2000 BC, and the cultures and religions of each group has contributed to that of modern Kurdistan. However, a great portion of the influence seems to have come from the Hurrians who arrived in the region in 4300 BC. The Kurdish people have been resettled by many groups throughout history, yet they have not forgotten the things that make a people belong to a particular culture: their language, their costumes, their food, their music, and their dance. It is common to see people walking in the streets of Kurdistan wearing their traditional clothes. During the Ottoman Empire, along with Armenians, Assyrians, and Azeris who inhabited that area, the Kurds were relocated into the interior of Persia from the border region. This empire was crucial in creating the locations where the Kurdish people live today. Kurdish dance has been a significant portion of the Kurdish culture throughout history. They sing and dance in all of their ceremonies and do so by holding hands and dancing in a circle or line. Occasionally, one person will leave the line and dance solo in the center. In certain dances, men and women stand next to each other in an alternating pattern and hold hands, reflecting on their unity and respect for one another. The leader of the line is called a Sachupi, and the rest of the dancers are called Gawani. The leader holds a scarf with which she or he dances while leading the line. Common instruments in Kurdish music are daf, tambur, flute, and kamanche. Kurdish women's costumes are generally made up of two layers, a satin underlying layer and a sheer embroidered overlayer. The beautiful and shiny fabric of the overlaying layer fills the bazaars of Sanandaj, the capital of Kurdistan. Women's costumes follow one of the two patterns, Sanandaji or Sakkazi. The costumes used throughout this program are Sanandaji costumes. They style from Sanandaj, the capital city of Kurdistan. They have a headpiece and a long top made from embroidered sheer fabric with a satin lining underneath. Sakkazi costumes are gathered at the waist and thus seemingly have a skirt. There's also a cloth that wraps around the waist for their costumes. The head shear is very long and is pinned at the front of the costume. It then drops over the shoulders and is pinned on the back. The remaining of the shear hangs from the pinned position down to the ground. Kurdish dances are known to be inclusive of everyone in the crowd. The basic step, or chepi, which is a forward and backward rock with the left leg forward, is often used in social gatherings. The more complex moves are used by the skilled dancers as a demonstration.
شيخك إلى مدينة صوان من الزينة زينة والزينة زينة والزينة أو شيخ إلى مدينة صوان من الزينة شو دلبا زينة وزينة زينة وزينة شيخك إلى مدينة صوان من الزينة زينة وزينة زينة وزينة أو شيخ إلى مدينة صوان من الزينة
In the past century, with prevalence of rhythmic music, which is percussion-based, a new style of dance has been established. The music is mainly comprised of various drums, such as the daf and tombak, the national drums of Persia. The daf is a large-sized frame drum made up of a thin band of hardwood and covered on one side with goat skin. Dafs often have metal rings or small cymbals attached along the inside of the wood rim, which creates short, crisp sounds. The daf can be used to make a diverse set of tones of various depths by tapping different spots of the goat skin with the fingers. The first dafs are documented to have been used during the Sasani dynasty. This instrument has existed in Iran long before Islam and used for many spiritual, religious, and festive ceremonies such as the Iranian New Year's, the first day of spring, and weddings. Tombak or zarb is a chief percussion instrument in Iranian music. This is a single-faced drum carved from one block of wood with a hollow body. It's open at the lower end and covered with sheepskin membrane at the upper end. The instrument is held across the lap and played with fingers and the palm of the hand. The origin of the tombak is still under dispute. However, there's evidence of its use during the Qajar dynasty. During that era, the tombak was played by singers alongside other instruments, but never played alone. During the Pahlavi dynasty, playing tombak solo became popular, and along with it came rhythmic music and dance. Rhythmic dance is comprised of the snapping of wrists, double steps or pasuzani, and choppy movements. Women performing this style often portray female-related moves such as combing of hair, putting on makeup, and straightening the skirt. The next dance is a Baba Karam rhythmic dance performed by the youth group entitled Ussa Karim. This dance is a combination of rhythmic steps along with some elements of its traditional origin Baba Karam, which started in Iran's tea houses. Tea is one of the most important aspects of Iranian culture. Each province features its own unique presentation of a chaikhane or tea house. But certain traits are universal, especially the taste of strong tea and the ever-present qalyun, which is hookah. And most houses also serve baghali or fava beans with salt and vinegar, as well as a variety of desserts and pastries. Tea houses have traditionally been a common gathering place for men after work. There they talked about their daily lives and professions. During the 19th century, this conversation took on a different mode, and men began miming their professions through dance. Among these dances are ruhozi, where boards are placed on the shallow pool and the men danced on it, hence the name over the shallow pool. Others are shatiri, tehruni, mochrebi, and baba karam. Baba Karam was developed as a type of entertainment performed by ordinary people at private gatherings and festivities. Baba Karam used to be mostly danced by the men of working class, and a certain macho character was often portrayed with heavy open steps and a slightly forward lean. The movements typically for men are adjusting hats, vests, coats, and dusting off the sleeves, wiping sweat, adjusting the mustache, and exchanging goods, such as bread or money. Over the years, this style has become popular among women, and even though during a particular period of the Pahlavi dynasty it turned into an exotic dance done by women at cabarets to entertain men, the dance artists in Iran have since returned it to a more classical form and added female-specific moves as seen in rhythmic dances. The legend of Baba Karam is that a servant of the royal family, Karam, was in love with the queen. Every time she called him over, he would dance for her. One day she left for a long trip, and the separation broke Karam's heart, and he died. He became the symbol of ultimate love. Because Karam expressed his love through dance, it is said that from there on, men began to recount stories through dance at their gatherings. This form of dance became known as Baba Karam, or Good Father. The next dance will have 5 different phases with varied styles of rhythmic and Baba Karam music. The 5th phase of this dance is a transition to a short bandari dance. We ask that you refrain from clapping until the curtains begin to close. Modern Iranian classical music has incorporated the use of traditional Western instruments such as the piano and the violin. Nasir-ad-Din Shah, the king of Qajar dynasty, played a crucial role in the development of classical Iranian music by establishing the Dar al-Funun school in Tehran in 1851. On a trip to Europe in 1860, Nasir-ad-Din Shah observed classical music performances, particularly those that specialized in martial music. On his return to Iran, he employed a French musician, Alfred Jean-Baptiste Lamarre, to start teaching martial music at the Dar al-Funun. Lamarre introduced the teaching of European instruments, including the piano. Furthermore, he adapted and composed Iranian music with the use of Western instruments. One of the most unique and ancient Iranian instruments is the kamanche, which is an upright four-string bow instrument. It's also known as Persian spiked fiddle. It consists of a round body made from gourd or wood covered by sheep or fish skin membrane. Traditionally, there are 3 strings. However, modern instruments have 4. At the base of the kamanche is a spike used to support the instrument while it's being played upright like a cello. It is thought that the kamanche is the ancestor of the present-day violin, cello, viola, and bass. Due to the introduction of violin into Iran, the kamanche is less often used. The violin is the only Western instrument that makes an easy transition to Iranian music, and in fact is used not only by classical musicians, but also by pop musicians as well. Some of the most well-known Iranian violinists of the contemporary era include Ustad Arsalan Kamkar, Rukneddin Mukhtari, Mohammad Zulfanun, and Shahdad Rohani. The most popular contemporary composer and violinist is Bijam Mortazavi, who is often portrayed with his white violin. Born in Mazandaran province, Mortazavi began playing the violin at the age of 3. At the age of 5, he began his training in piano, guitar, percussion, and traditional string instruments such as the oud, tar, and santur. At the age of 11, he won the first prize in a national contest among students of all ages. At the age of 14, he assembled a 32-man orchestra performing his composition and arrangements. After high school, he moved to the UK, where he pursued his academic interests in civil engineering, while performing and further training in violin. In 1979, he moved to the U.S. to continue his music education at Texas State University. He settled in California in 1985. and his first album, which was a bestseller, came out in 1990. The next dance is performed to one of his pieces of work called Sunrise, for all the colors that exist beyond the golden sunrise. In the 1950s, Iranian dance began to regain its rightful place in Iranian performing arts as an ancient, beautiful form of art. Then, the director of Culture and Art Ministry in Iran, Nejad Ahmadzadeh, said, "Dance used to be a lowly means of entertainment in Iranian culture. During my career, we placed it on the cultural map of Persia as an art form where it belonged." Unfortunately, many Iranians have since forgotten the value of Iranian dance and the respect the dance and the performing artists deserve. I hope the dances in this program will remind you of all the reasons for which dance is not merely a form of entertainment, but a reflection of the culture, history, music, song, language, costumes, traditions, and people's daily lives in every region. We hope that you have enjoyed this program today and would leave with a sense of greater understanding and appreciation for Iran, Iranian history, culture, music, and dance. Beyond the golden sunrise is a spectrum of beautiful colors, all rising along with the sun. These colors together make the sunrise picturesque. As the sun rises above the horizon, the people of Iran rise up and prepare for the dance of their daily lives. It is the diversity of Iran and the Iranian people that makes this country so beautiful and culturally rich. Thank you for joining and supporting us today. We appreciate all friends, family, and community members who have come from near and far to help support our cause. Thank you again, and enjoy the closing ceremony.